energy exporters around the world are reeling from the crash in oil prices. Azerbaijan was among the hardest hit. Its economy shrunk 3.4% in the first half of this year after a shock devaluation of its currency in late December. Finance Minister Samir Sharifov says the government has never faced an economic crisis like this one.
For the last 10 to 12 years, the government was pursuing of public sector-led investments. And this investment, they of course had a very substantial impact on the entire economy of Azerbaijan, because the government was financing construction of roads, hospitals, schools, water sanitation, irrigation projects, and of course this very substantial infrastructure investment, they had a positive impact on the entire economy. Now, of course, with the fall in oil prices, and of course the government is not capable of providing sort of the same amount of investments into the economy.
After more than a decade surfing the oil boom, Azerbaijan must learn to live without enormous hydrocarbon profits.
The President Aliyev directed the government to prepare for so-called post-oil era. So this fall in oil prices has simply accelerated the process which we started. So we are now doing it under different, let's say, more demanding conditions, I would say. Despite the shock that we have experienced, I believe, so we are resilient.
In the peak of the economic turmoil in January, the Azerbaijani government flirted with imposing capital controls and with a package of loans from the IMF and World Bank. Mr. Sharifov says Baku never needed a bailout, and there are currently no talks with the IMF. But he nonetheless has some pointed criticism of the fund's handling of the oil crash.
This institution was created as a kind of lender of last resort. But at the same time, there is a stigma, as it is called, and there is quite a long discussion within the fund itself about so-called stigma of IMF. Sometimes it is better to provide small amount of money to prevent some problem, rather than to provide huge amount of money to try to, how should I put it, to cure the disease.
With more than $30 billion in its state oil fund, Azerbaijan appears to have sufficient resources to weather the downturn in oil prices for now. The key challenge for the government is to transform an economy whose lifeblood is hydrocarbons into one that can thrive without them. Jack Farchy, Financial Times, Baku.